Okay, this is a reply video, sort of a reply, to Barbarossa over there. Men going their own way, and feminism and so on. Barbarossa posted a video. He said a lot of good stuff, but some things that, well, I guess I'm going to point this out to you, what I'm saying. So, now let's watch up because I want you to hear what Barbarossa is saying first.
Now, to see SATF in action, one must only look at the good traditionalist woman, her sales pitch, and how chivalrous MRAs bombard her comment section with blind approval no matter how blatantly her snake oil stinks. Take the good traditionalist YouTuber, the Cajun Luis, and her video, more thoughts on the men's rights movement and relationships, which I've put in the description box. So I'll give you a brief synopsis. 44 seconds in, she addresses the issue of men going their own way, advising men to use women in nothing other than a sexual capacity. This advice stems, of course, from the very real dangers that romantic relationships with women can put you in, both legally and financially, not to mention emotionally when they inevitably go south, and they will. Ignoring all this, she claims that advocating this reminds her of a feminist that advised her to only use men for their wallets and nothing more, and that's where the SATF comes in. The key difference between the two is, of course, that women never had an entire legal structure designed to steal wealth and falsely imprison based solely on unsubstantiated male accusation. Men have a reason, and a good one, to minimize their dealings with women. Women have never had an equally valid reason to do so. The power that the state gave them over men was all the reason they needed. This is what SATF was designed for. I mean, she cares nothing about the rights of men or the danger she puts them in by shaming them for foregoing relationships with women. This is about mending her defunct traditional family.
Everything he said right there is totally correct. She doesn't care about men. She doesn't care at all. It's still about herself. You need to pay attention to what he's saying right there because he's correct. But I do got some things I'm going to point out, so let's watch up.
Now, in 2011, on my NeWalt video, I said the following. Now, you have various excuses, but all of them point back to the same thing: women dodging responsibility for feminism and eventually blaming men for it. And you're going to see more of this now that the tide is slowly turning and a lot of single mothers and barren, frigid, unwanted feminists are starting to see feminism for the disaster that it was. Now, you're going to see a lot of women asking for a truce and pretending that they had nothing to do with the past half decade, and NeWalt is the mechanism they're going to use to do it. So let me try to educate you on some of the tricks that women are going to try to use to minimize their roles in feminism. They're going to blame it solely on the state. They're going to say that it's government's fault and that men and women need to work together to end feminism. Now, let me make things clear. Feminism, for all of its state-sanctioned implementation, could not have been possible without the support of women. It is important that men and women do eventually move past feminism, but we will not rewrite history here. It should be made clear that although women were also victims of feminism, as they're slowly starting to realize, they were and still are complicit. The state gave women the opportunity to subjugate men. Women took that opportunity, and men would do well to never ever forget that.
He's correct about that. Everything he said, once again, is correct, okay? Women are responsible. And they are responsible. Yeah, they may have been victims too, but they saw a chance to be above somebody. That's right. They saw a chance to be totally above, okay, to think they were better. Power and greed, okay? And so women are very much responsible, and he's right. You don't want to forget that, okay? You do not want to forget the role that women took, because if it was turned around, they sure wouldn't forget, now would they? Okay, let's go on because there's something very important I want to point out.
Now, back to the Cajun Luis's video. At 2 minutes and 37 seconds, she gives her advice as to how men should proceed, and she says, and I quote, "Listen, this is the thing. Do not marry feminists. Do not date feminists. Do not waste your time with them. She is a career-oriented type of woman. Do not waste your time dating a woman like that. You cannot have two career-obsessed people in a relationship," end quote. The Cajun Luis. Now, you wouldn't be trying to convince us that men who have married traditional women aren't also being squeezed through the divorce ring, are you? Notice that she is not telling men to refuse marriage. She's telling them to refuse to marry feminists because, of course, traditional gals still need their bills paid. And, of course, the practice of traditional women divorcing men and taking advantage of the feminist divorce laws is unheard of, right? Right? These are her thoughts on the men's rights movement. That it's okay to still enter into a contract that strips men of all their wealth and freedom so long as they enter into it with the right woman. I mean, where have we heard that before? Are we starting to see now just whose interests are at heart when traditionalist women give commentary on the men's rights movement? Any woman that would advocate for men to get married at all in this legal climate does not have the interests of men at heart.
Okay, last but not least, everything he said one more time is correct. And once again, she does not have the best interest of men at heart. She has the best interest of herself at heart. That's right, of her selfishness, okay? And of course, she thinks she's conning you. But here's where the trickery comes in, okay? And I don't know if I'm using the right words when I say trickery, but this is where maybe you don't understand. But I want you to listen to what he's going to say now.
Men going their own way must understand that we live in a time where sex can be had without marriage or even a relationship on anything other than a superficial level. Men do not owe women families. Men are not responsible for the broken family unit, and as such, we will not fix it. Men do not owe women families. Men are not responsible for the broken family unit, and as such, we will not fix it. Burn that into your head, my fellow men. Sear that into your consciousness. Feminism was not your fault, my fellow men. You didn't ask for it. It was brought to you. It was brought to you by the state, by mangina politicians, and by women. The great female attempt at reconciliation is coming, and it is not genuine. See it for what it is, and start worrying about getting paid. Get laid as often as you want, without depleting your precious time and resources. And lastly, and most importantly, go your own way.
Okay, now this is the part that you have to really pay attention close, okay? He is correct. It's not the men's fault, okay? He is correct on that part. But he's advocating something here, and I don't think he's using common sense about what he's advocating here. At the very beginning, have as much sex as you want, right? Now listen to this part.
Now, to see SATF in action, one must only look at the good traditionalist woman, her sales pitch, and how chivalrous MRAs bombard her comment section with blind approval no matter how blatantly her snake oil stinks. Take the good traditionalist YouTuber, the Cajun Luis, and her video, more thoughts on the men's rights movement and relationships, which I've put in the description box. So I'll give you a brief synopsis. 44 seconds in, she addresses the issue of men going their own way, advising men to use women in nothing other than a sexual capacity. This advice stems, of course, from the very real dangers that romantic relationships with women can put you in, both legally and financially, not to mention emotionally when they inevitably go south, and they will.
Okay, now you heard what he said there. At 44 seconds in, he says that she advised you to merely have sex, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then he told you about the emotional, the stress, and the financial burden it's going to put you into. Okay, so he was showing you how she was deceiving you, right? But now listen to this.
Men going their own way must understand that we live in a time where sex can be had without marriage or even a relationship on anything other than a superficial level.
Okay, now you may have to back this up a couple times if you've missed what I'm trying to point here. Okay, if you didn't, great. But what I caught was, and I don't know if you want to call it doublespeak, because maybe Barbarossa didn't realize what he had done here. At one point, he reminded you of what she said about just having sex and the legal legalities of just having sex, and how eventually she's going to go south, and she will. He was correct about that. But then when you watch his video, which I'll leave the link to his video underneath this video here so that you can see it, listen close to everything that's said and then listen towards the end. As he tells you himself that to go your own way, but to have as much sex as you want. Okay, well, there's a flaw there. Okay, I don't understand, okay? Maybe Barbarossa can answer this for me, okay? I want to know, how are you going your own way? Okay, because, okay, My understanding, if you're going your own way, is you're not going to have a committed relationship with her, and you're not going to get married to her. And so you're going your own way. That's my understanding, right? Now, if I'm wrong, please point that out to me, okay? Because I'd like to know that. But if my understanding is that's correct, you're going your own way, so you're not going to have a committed relationship or a marriage with her, but you can have as much sex as you want. So, what happens when she gets pregnant? Because you're having sex. Now she gets pregnant. See, the courts don't care that you're not married. You might have, because you went your own way, saved yourself from alimony. Yeah, because you didn't get married. Okay, she can't really get you for alimony now, can she? No. So you saved yourself that part, but you really didn't go your own way, did you? Because if she gets pregnant because you had sex, tell me if I'm wrong here. How are you going your own way? Because if she gets pregnant, ain't she going to run to the court system? And isn't the courts, regardless? Because the courts don't care if you're married. So I see 18 years of child support. I see you have a child with baby's mama. That's right. Because you was going your own way. So that confuses me a little bit. How do you go your own way when you have a child with her and she's using the court system to get child support for the next 18 years because you're going your own way? Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe it just defeated me. I don't know, I'm just going to tell you that, I don't understand that. I guess I would have to say maybe you should go get fixed. Maybe all the men should go get fixed that are going their own way so they can't get her pregnant. That way you can do as Barbarossa said. Because the double speak to me, now I could be wrong, but the double speak to me was when he pointed out how she said they could just merely have sex, and he reminded you of the legal legalities of that. Then he turned around and at the end of his video told you to go have sex. So he did the same thing she did, okay? But what can I say, Overall, I liked his video. He made a lot of great points. He said a lot of stuff that was very accurate. But I wanted to point that out because I guess I'm just beside myself. I don't know how you go your own way if you get her pregnant. Because it don't matter that you're not married. Believe me, you want to tell the judge that? You want to tell the courts that when she goes and files and says you're the dad? You tell the courts that you went your own way. You're not responsible for child support. She proves that kid's yours. You're responsible. You just hooked your ass to her for the next 18 years. So did you really go your own way? Did you really? I guess that's my question. Maybe Barbarossa can answer that. I don't know. Watch the video underneath the more. Re-listen. Give me your opinions. But I just wanted to point that out.